Purposefully Profitable Podcast, Episode 10. This podcast is for the purpose that forces fear to fail by faithfully forging forward towards financial freedom. Whether your small business is new or existing, micro, meso, macro, or mega, stalled, stagnant, just surviving, or gloriously thriving, the Purposefully Profitable Podcast has a money-making message for you. Subscribe now so that you will not miss a single episode. It's Teach Yourself Thursday on the Purposefully Profitable Podcast, and I'm your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes, CEO and founder of Systro, organization strategist for small business, where we have a single focus, pointing you to the principles that prepare you to be profitable and prosperous. This week, the Teach Yourself Thursday resource is a book titled The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and John David Mann. Perhaps you've already read it, but I could not overlook this book as a key resource for anyone planning to become purposefully profitable. Let's begin by talking about the authors. Bob Burg is a speaker who shares the Go-Giver message with corporations and associations internationally, including Fortune 500 companies, franchises, and direct sales organizations. Bob is a vocal advocate of free enterprise as a system where the amount of money that a person can make is proportional to the number of people who receive value from the product or service they provide. John David Mann has built an incredible record of excellence. At age 13, he wrote a musical score that was performed in Greece. At age 15, he won the BMI Award for student composers. And at age 17, he started a high school with several friends. Since then, he has written several award-winning books which have been published in more than 24 languages. The co-authors published The Go-Giver in 2007 and have, in 10 years, sold more than 650,000 copies globally. The book has been translated into 21 languages. I rarely encounter anyone who has not read this book, and each time I mention it to someone who has read it, I receive an enthusiastic response about the principles that it contains. The book is 129 pages divided into 14 chapters, in which the authors tell a story about a man named Joe who needs to ramp up his performance or lose his job. Joe receives lessons throughout the story that change his perspective on how to improve his performance. In the book, Joe is introduced to several people who share their success stories. With each meeting, Joe picks up another clue. The genius of the book is that the reader learns right along with Joe. By the end, it's clear why giving is such a powerful approach to achieving success. The chapter lineup is as follows. Chapter 1, The Go-Getter. Chapter 2, The Secret. Chapter 3, The Law of Value. Chapter 4, The Condition. Chapter 5, The Law of Compensation, my favorite. Chapter 6, Serving Coffee. Chapter 7, Rachel. Chapter 8, The Law of Influence. Chapter 9, Susan. Chapter 10, The Law of Authenticity. Chapter 11, Gus. Chapter 12, The Law of Reciprocity. Chapter 13, Full Circle. Chapter 14, The Go-Giver. This is one of those books that you can read over and again, each time picking up something you missed the previous time. While this podcast is purposefully about profitability, it is also about getting there the Go-Giver way. Chasing dollars as a way of achieving profitability will never work, but positioning yourself to attract dollars is a powerful way of creating sustainable revenue streams. The Go-Giver doesn't just convey this truth, it gives you the insights you need to make it happen. This book has helped me create the business model that works for the profitability goals I've set for myself. Because of this book, I was aware that, given the impact I want to have on the small business community, I needed to find a way to serve a large population and do it well. If you happen to be one who has not read the book, and there are still many people who haven't, since out of 330 million people in the US and 7.5 billion people in the world, only 650,000 copies have been sold, don't despair, but don't delay either. In the meantime, I'll share my Teach Yourself Thursday top 10 takeaways from The Go-Giver. 1. The law of compensation. Your income is determined by how many people you serve and how well you serve them. 2. The law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. 3. The law of authenticity. The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. 4. The law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is to stay open to receiving. 5. The law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. 6. Many people pursue the worst possible approach in their pursuit of profitability, which is to take as much as they can from as many people as they can. This book debunks that approach. 7. It's important to seek mentors and follow their counsel. 8. It's not the biggest books that pack the most punch. 9. Telling a story makes information memorable. 10. Giving is a success secret that is hiding in plain sight, and one that some people will never see. I always have a very difficult time selecting only 10 takeaways from the books that have had such a profound impact on my business life. Your top 10 takeaways from this book will undoubtedly be different. In this world, each of us, as an individual, has something uniquely special that others need. It takes a purposeful personal development program to be a professional. Teach Yourself Thursday resources are provided to help you with your process. Join us tomorrow for Fame and Fortune Friday with your host, the Profitability Professor, Russ Barnes. If you have questions or feedback, please forward them to russ@systro.org. We would love to hear from you. Subscribe to the Purposefully Profitable Podcast today so that you will not miss a single episode. And thank you for listening.